Hey gays, happy Pride. I did it. I finally watched the worst gay movie ever made, Ben and Arthur, and damn, this movie is so funny. The best part about a bad movie is a bad movie that wants to be taken seriously. Whatever comedy you find in Ben and Arthur, it's unintentional for sure. Whatever laughter the film may produce was not intended to be produced. This film wants you to feel the pain of the characters. It wants to put you through the trauma of being gay in the early 2000s, wanting to get married and not being able to. One of the main actors of the film is also its director, producer, writer, editor. If there was a job on set to do, he'd do it. He was probably the janitor as well. This is a man of many talents. None of them are making a good film, but I'm sure he has many skills. I'm not entirely sure how the production of this film went, but there is one thing that I do wonder sometimes. Where are they now? Like, what happened to these people, and do they ever look back at Ben and Arthur and think, damn, I'm in that? Because this is so funny. I tried to do a reaction of me watching this for the first time, but I was mostly silent and gobsmacked. My mouth was agape the entire time, so I thought, no, I need to gather my thoughts and then bring my thoughts to you. Also, the movie's on YouTube, so if any of you feels tempted to go watch this, by all means, it's on YouTube. It's been on YouTube for years, so I doubt that they'll take it down. Have at it, kids. Show the movie some love this Pride Month. We're gonna watch Ben and Arthur. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna laugh with it and at it. So yeah, this is Ben and Arthur. Straight away, it has the best beginning. It starts with this fuck-ass music playing in the background. It was probably royalty-free, and I think every human being on the planet has heard this song in some way or another. I don't know where it's from, but it's very catchy. And as you can see in the first few minutes, you see Sam Moravik's name all over the credits. Music editing, cinematography, casting, acting, directing, producing, writing. Is there anything this man can do? Disappear after this film's out, I guess. This is a powerful move. If the movie turns out to be great, then you're gonna look at the Sam guy like, whoa, he's a threat. He knows what he's doing. And then if the movie turns out like Ben and Arthur, you're gonna think, damn, what was he thinking? So we're introduced to our main characters. Arthur is having a nap in this desolate hotel room, and Ben is somewhere else, and they have a phone conversation because Ben wants Arthur to look at the news.
Arthur, did you find out yet?
No, I didn't find out. The TV just broke. I've been down here just taking a nap.
Forget the stupid TV. Did you try the radio? Maybe it's being broadcast over the radio.
Arthur finally finds his way to the radio, and he hears an announcement that Hawaii has legalized same-sex marriage. Now, this is the early 2000s. Gay marriage was not legal in the United States. It baffles me that it took them until 2016 to legalize it, and they're still gays to this day that say that 20 years ago it was fine being gay, and it's only now that the trans woke mob is rising that people are turning against gays. Y'all, they don't like you. They don't like you in any iteration. But anyway, Ben and Arthur are going through a very relatable experience if you were an adult back then, which is you want to get married to your partner, you want the same rights as any other married couple, but you're not allowed because you're a gross ecstatic with the news that Hawaii now lets get married. They embrace in a very convincing, passionate sign of affection that these two men are definitely in a relationship. They didn't just meet this day to film this scene. No, they are definitely together. They've been together for 5 years, in fact. A long time to be living in an apartment with no furniture in sight. But we get a cute little montage of the least gay men packing for a holiday in Hawaii. A holiday that includes getting married. That's all they're taking. To be fair, this apartment looks like where they filmed those college pornos back in the 2000s. The day of their trip, they are ready to head out the door and go to Hawaii. They've already paid for the flights, the accommodation, everything's paid for. And then they find out that actually Hawaii said, nah, we don't want getting married on our island, actually. We want to rethink our decision. So their plan is foiled. And instead of going to Hawaii and enjoying the holiday that they already paid for, you know, you can't get married, you go and enjoy your time, they decided to stay home. And they were ready to walk out the door. Everything was packed. They were dressed. Like, literally all they had to do was go. But they don't. Arthur is definitely the emotional anchor of the film. He is the one that really expresses his emotions. Not convincingly, but he does express them.
Why aren't you upset is what I'd like to know.
I am upset.
But you sure don't seem like it.
Look, in another 2 years...
Fuck in another 2 years, Ben! This is ignorance and completely unfair! This country sucks, it just sucks!
And in this heated argument, they decide to stay very close to each other, and Ben reveals that he has a wife.
I'm still finishing up a divorce with my wife.
That's right, this gay couple is about to be put through the heterosexual ringer that is existing in the world as a gay couple with zero intimacy. I think earlier I said Ben and Arthur have been together for 5 years. They've actually been together for 3, but Ben has been married for 5. The math ain't mathing. Arthur takes the news that his partner is married to a woman very well in his diary entries.
Dear Diary, I can't believe Ben. He's married to some bitch named Tammy.
And then we get to meet the wife. Now, you may think that it's just the gays that are delusional, particularly Arthur, who's been in a relationship with a man for 3 years when he's been married to a woman for 5 years and he didn't realize. But the wife is also not all there. She shows up, has a conversation with Ben, realizes that her husband of 5 years has been in a homosexual relationship for the past 3 years, and she also didn't notice that he was living full-time with a man. Where did she think he was? Where did she think this man was for the past 3 years? Just on a long holiday with his bros where they do gay stuff but never talk about it, because if you don't talk about it, it's not gay. And that's a real story from Reddit. Little more backstory on Ben and Arthur. Ben is a nurse who does music and works in a kitchen, and Arthur just works in a kitchen. And Arthur is not happy with his job, so much so that he has a riveting conversation with Ben.
Yeah, Ben, I just can't stand working here anymore, you know? This place is just driving me up the wall.
So quit. If you don't like it, find another job.
Yeah, I should. You know, I just can't stand it here anymore. You know, the boss is bitchy, the customers are cranky, and the hours suck.
I'm just going to say this. I actually admire Sam Rovik. I keep butchering his name. But I admire him for making this film and putting it out, because the dialogue, you can tell that he was just looking for a thin-veiled reason as to why this man wants to quit his job. The boss is bitchy, the hours aren't great, the pay sucks, just listing all of the most general reasons why anyone would ever want to change a job and just, yep, that's our storyline. Go with it. Minimum effort for maximum effect. And there's something to be admired about these independent films where people pour their heart and soul into a project, and you can tell that the resources, the budget wasn't there. They had bigger ideas than their budget allowed for. Unfortunately, this is not the case, because what is this?
Do you want more?
Yes.
So how you doing today, Mildred?
Hey, I want more.
I'm sorry? I just filled it.
There's a whole 2 inches left.
Is that okay for you?
Whatever. I need more sugar.
I'll be back.
Aren't you gonna give me my sugar?
No.
You better give me my sugar, or else somebody tell your boss on you.
Bye.
I'm telling you here, I'm telling. That ought to show him.
So Arthur quits his job and he starts looking for a different job. Unfortunately, looking for jobs back then, it wasn't going on LinkedIn and sending 10, 20, 30 resumes an hour. It going through the newspaper and calling establishments, asking if they're looking for people or answering to job openings. I could not imagine applying for jobs and just going through the newspaper and be like, oh, they need someone here. Let me call them. Whoever lived back then, y'all were the real tenacious people. I'm glad capitalism is fucking up younger generations, because older people need a reward for having grown up without the internet and having had to call people directly to find something out, not just go on a website page and find all the information at the distance of a click. Y'all were the real heroes, and I'm glad that capitalism is making you guys a priority. This is another wild scene. Honestly, this film is populated with iconic scenes that really truly defy the laws of storytelling. Arthur applies for a job as a stripper, and we're shown the audition where he dances with no music.
Cut.
I love whoever made this piece of shit. And then at the end, the owner is so happy, he's like, all right.
That's great. Now, let's see your penis.
Unfortunately, the stripper job doesn't pan out, so Arthur has to do something he wished he never had to, which is go to his brother and ask for money. He goes to his brother's house, and initially they don't recognize each other because these men in their mid to late 30s haven't seen each other in 7 years, and we all know that from your late 20s to your early 30s, you change irrevocably, right? His brother he has a lovely bleach job done to his hair. His brother hates his hair, and we immediately realize why these two haven't seen each other in so long. Turns out his brother, bleach job, Victor, is really, really homophobic in like a church-going nut job way, right? He goes to church and he genuinely believes that one day the ground will open up and swallow all the gays and lesbians and trans down to hell, and he'll stay on Earth with a utopia of cishet people. Out of all the categories of homophobes, I think that ultra-religious nutjob is my favorite. Because homophobic gay people are just pick-me's, right? They just want to be picked at the draft. Then you have the homophobes who genuinely just hate gay people because they're bad people. That's fun. That's fresh. But ultra-religious homophobes are a different flavor. They've been raised that way. They've been brainwashed into believing that God cares about them, that God is up there looking over us, overseeing a genocide and doing nothing to stop it, or nothing to stop all the previous ones or the other ongoing ones that we don't talk about. God is just there, just approving everything that we do. Yes, people, kill each other. That's my way. It's my way. It's the God way. Something about this shot is sending me to absolute hell and back. Bad bleach blonde job, holding the Holy Bible, stroking his pussy cat. There's candles, and there's this, what is this? Leopard print plushie? I don't know what that is, but it's iconic. But Victor agrees to help Arthur and give him money. In fact, he'll give him twice the amount he asked for. He'll give him $8,000 if Arthur brings his partner Ben over for dinner and is respectful of Victor. That's the most important part. Be respectful in my household. Don't suck your husband's dick under my roof. But before that can happen, Ben and Arthur meet up with a lawyer who is very knowledgeable on the law she practices, except for anything relevant to the conversation happening in the film. So she's gonna have to look it up later.
But getting married out here in California is going to be hard because of this Proposition 22, and I'm going to have to read up on the law more.
However, there's one quick way for them to get married, which is to fly over to Vermont and then come back. And if LA doesn't recognize their marriage, then they can fight it out in court. So that's what they do. They take a quick flight to Vermont and they get married in the park. It's a big romantic wedding full of no guests, no witnesses, no anything. It's just Ben, Arthur, and a priest. And it's all sealed with a very, very believable kiss between two men that absolutely love each other. They love each other. And their honeymoon is just what you'd expect. A romantic conversation on a park bench.
Let's just enjoy it. Enjoy. We have 3 more days here. We have dinner plans tonight.
Okay.
All right? We are married. We are married.
Back home with a lawyer who's knowledgeable about all the law, except the law that actually matters for the conversation of this film, she has documents.
According to this legal document that I have here, it states
Something, civil partnership, man, woman, marriage, something, fight it out in court. It's a word salad that means nothing. And while all this is happening, Victor is hunting through the yellow pages for a private investigator, and he orders one from Sean Cody, 1999. He sits down the private investigator and he tells him that his brother is a homosexual about to marry another man, and he needs to do something to stop this insanity. So the private investigator's job is to find out his brother's next steps. And the private investigator's answer is, I think what you're doing is morally wrong. But that's none of his concern, and it's none of ours. They start working together, and sometime later, the PI calls Victor from a rooftop in the middle of the night, telling him that he has the answers. We then see Victor walking down the street as this techno music of the early 2000s, late 90s, again, royalty free, plays in the background. I think this soundtrack is amazing. It's the kind of music that hits harder the more acid you take. And I think that's beautiful. The film loves guns. Whatever budget they cut out of the screenplay writing process, they put into getting fake guns, prop guns, or even real guns. We don't know. Victor goes into a parking lot and he shoots the lawyer. It's a very riveting, action-packed scene of Victor running to the car and then running away from the car and running out of the parking lot. And finally, 4 homosexuals gather for a dinner. Victor and his definitely straight roommate, let's call him Carlos, and Ben and Arthur. Contrary to popular belief, Carlos here is not a homosexual. He is in fact just as homophobic as Victor. And the dinner goes awry with some very heavy arguing that verges on physical violence. I was scared for them. You know, when gays start looking like this is the sign that the devil is in the room and we need to pack shit up and go home. Luckily for us, this only strengthens the love between our main characters, Ben and Arthur. So they go home and they indulge in some very, very believable lovemaking. Unfortunately, peace in paradise is disrupted by the wife. She comes over and she has a gun. Everyone's a fan of guns in this film. She tries to kill Ben, tries to shoot him, but she misses several times, and not a single person in this apartment complex takes notice of gunshots going off in the apartment next door. Nope. Just Ben struggling with his wife, who eventually leaves defeated. And when Arthur gets home, Ben's explanation is, my ex-wife tried to force me to marry her again, and she brought this, the gun. He's very calm and collected, though. He doesn't want to call the police. He just wants his wife to calm down. Take a breather. Get over it, you know? I'm going through this scene by scene because every 5 minutes there's something more iconic that happens. Like this whole shot of his face.
When the hell did that happen?
At this point, Ben gets a call informing them that their lawyer, Margaret, was murdered, and moments later, the woman from the cafe is back.
There's been a break-in in the garage, and the managers asked me to tell everybody to go check their shit.
Someone broke into the garage, and they should probably go downstairs and check it out. So Ben runs like a maniac to find his bike gone. His bicycle was stolen. His bike was stolen, he comes back home and he's beside himself. His bicycle got stolen, goddammit! And then we have the most fascinating argument between the two. Ben's bike is missing because Arthur forgot to lock it up, leading Ben to say, I need to know that I can count on you, Arthur. This clearly strikes a nerve with Arthur, who runs to his bedroom. Moments later, Ben shows up and asks him what is wrong. And Arthur tells him of the time, the day that Ben came out of the closet, that they were celebrating at the bar, which sounds really weird to do. And he held Ben's hand in public and he pulled away and said, not here. Why is Arthur saying this? He doesn't know. He just feels very strongly about it, and right now, in this moment, this is the right time to bring it up again.
Well, you know, if it bothered you so much and you felt so strongly about it, why didn't you say something then?
And say what? Why don't you come out of the closet?
He then throws out a really powerful one. Maybe if I die, you can take the insurance money and buy 100 bikes. Oh yeah, did I forget to mention? Apparently they have a life insurance policy on each other that if one dies, the other gets $1 million. It's the little bit of plot information in there to make that is sprinkling this with a little bit more something. But telling Ben to go buy 100 bikes after the life insurance policy kicks in leads Ben to punch Arthur. And DV is no laughing matter, okay? Except in Ben and Arthur.
Well, you know, Ben, if I ever get killed, maybe you can take that insurance money and just go ahead and buy 100 bikes.
I remember thinking, I'm about to beat this bitch up.
Oh.
What the hell was this? When Arthur wakes up, Ben says, that'll teach you not to say stupid things. Ben and Arthur was trying to cram in as many social issues as possible into just one very condensed story that makes no sense. And I love it. Okay, the next one is my favorite, I think. Victor makes a potion that if you drink will expunge the demons from your body. So he makes a potion. He puts it in a little bottle. Then he goes to Ben and Arthur's and he tapes the bottle to their door that says, "Drink me." Arthur finds the potion and he's not surprised by what he sees. He is fully aware that his brother makes potions and he laughs at it and then throws it out. Victor then gets called to his church, to his congregation, and he speaks to a priest. I do not like the way this man looks. I don't like the way priests look. But the priest tells him that he is out of the congregation. He's getting kicked out of church because his brother is a homosexual, and that goes against their religious values. So Victor also has to be expelled because he may have that gay gene. So it's a gene, it's a choice. Religious nutters, we need to make a decision. Are we going to blame science or are we going to blame free will? Victor is very angry and he wants to do something about it. So after whining about it for about 2 minutes, he goes back to the priest and he says he's willing to do anything to get back to the congregation, and then asks the priest to help him kill his brother. And the priest says that he might know a man for the job. Victor goes back to Arthur's place and again tells him that he's there to save a soul. And after another very heated, aggressive, verging on physical violence argument, Arthur gets the biggest dildo he could find in his bedroom and some lube and gives them to Victor and says, "Shove it up your ass."
Now you see this? Put some lube on it and shove it up your ass.
Then we see a long shot of Arthur leaving the supermarket carrying bags, and it goes on for a good while. Then we see Victor and an unknown man, presumably the man for the job the priest knew, get out of a car, go into a car, drive off in the car. But when Arthur gets home, he sees Ben on the floor bleeding. The budget of the makeup team was hopes and dreams and good vibes. The plot of this film is really hanging by a very loose thread. Sometime after the attack, Victor gets a visit from a police officer. And he's like, "Do you know anything about Ben?" And his response is, "Yeah, he's dead. What else do you want to know?"
Oh yeah, he's dead. What else you want to know?
I'm sorry, what? Then the police officer goes, "Actually, he's not dead. He's very much alive in the hospital. But hey, you need to come with me to the station. I need to have some words with you." And he's like, "Okay." And off they go. You know what? Even Neil Breen doesn't quiver at the idea of having his character in an alien planet. He makes it work with some very creative editing, green screens. He makes that shit work. We could have spent 5 more minutes on these lines. 5. Just someone human that has spoken to people, please look over the script.
I can assure you that Mr. Sheets is fine. I was just at the hospital last night, and he's very much alive. If you could possibly get your keys and come downtown with us, I need to have a couple of words with you downtown at the department.
This movie feels like someone watched a bunch of movies and series and knew like the usual story beats of a film like this, but they didn't know how to make it look good or sound good. So they just kind of splashed it all with an iPhone 5. They were just filming around and they were having the best time of their lives. I love it. Arthur then breaks into Victor's apartment by climbing over this wall and this fence. It is beautiful. Jason Bourne could never. Ethan Hunt, who? He wants to know who Victor hired to beat up Ben, and Victor has, you guessed it, another gun. This movie loves guns. This movie started to feel like a very long gay NRA ad. They were like, "We need to talk to our gay customers. How are we going to do it? Let's make a movie." And then hired the cheapest people they could find, which is probably the CEO's niece. Victor doesn't shoot Arthur, but Arthur plants a bug in Victor's phone and overhears a conversation that Victor has with a priest admitting to being in cahoots with each other. So Arthur pays the priest a visit. He shows up under the guise of wanting the number of Scott, this person that he's been coming to church with, but today has seemingly gone missing. And the priest wastes no time. He's like, "Yep, I can give you all of his information. Let me just write it down for you." And as he's writing down the information, Arthur pulls out this big ass bottle from his pocket, pours the liquid into a towel, and chloroforms the old man in the room. He then runs to his car, and we get to see the whole thing, the whole running back and forth. We get to hear his sandals running back and forth. He then pours petrol all over the room, sets it ablaze, and runs off into the sunset. Our little criminal mastermind here is killing people now. Ben is now back from the hospital, not really sure why he has a black eye when initially all he had was watered down blood running down his face, but I guess the doctors in that hospital are aggressive. They don't like the gays either. A few days later, presumably, Victor shows up with, you guessed it, a gun, and he straight up shoots Ben dead. Arthur comes into the living room, sees his lover on the floor, hugs him, and we get this heart-wrenching moment of Arthur seeing his lover slowly pass away. Victor then forces Arthur to strip down, tells him to accept the Lord into his life, and tries to wash off his sins in the bathtub. And I think this was a scene that was meant to have a stronger emotional impact that didn't cause laughter. I laughed. I know I'm a bad person laughing at conversion therapy. And after taking a very relaxing nap, apparently, Arthur gets up, retrieves another gun in the house. These gays have guns growing out of their assholes at this point. And he walks up to his brother and he starts stripping and caressing his own body to seduce his brother. Arthur starts seducing his brother, saying, "This is what you want? Is this what you wanted?" And listen, I'm all for a big plot twist, but
Come here, fuck me now before it's too late.
what? Y'all what? I don't think that's no, it's not. So Arthur shoots Victor, but misses. We only hear the sound of the gunshot. So Victor grabs his gun and shoots the shit out of Arthur like 6 times in the back. Then Arthur turns around, bleeding out, and shoots Victor in the head. And then they both die. The end. And that was Ben and Arthur. What a joyous moment in history. What a gift. What a gift. Ben and Arthur, what a treasure. What a prize. What an experience. What a privilege. So thank you. Thank you, Sam Moravik, for making this film. And thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to leave it a like down below. Also, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of our future Pride videos coming out this month. There's a lot more that we need to watch before the month is over. And leave a comment down below if you've watched Ben and Arthur, what was your favorite moment? And if you haven't watched it and you want to watch it, it's on YouTube. It's literally on YouTube, so just search Ben and Arthur and you'll find it. It's good. It's worth it. And until next time, guys, stay safe, stay sane, stay stupid, and stay stuttering. Bye.